Welcome, welcome, welcome to our second recording of this incredible recording thing that we are doing. We did such a great job the first time that we are doing it again, all over again, because we actually deleted the first recording uh, thanks to some really amazing work by me. All right, well, here we have Jared on the keyboard. He's just gonna play background music for us today. Not really gonna do much else. Just kidding. Roger, our
What's up,
expert
yo?
lore master, he's gonna give us a quick rundown on Tarkir lore. We're gonna be talking. We're gonna do a really quick, short episode today. I'm mostly talking about Tarkir because it is the hottest thing, right? Because Either Drifts has already been out for 2 weeks now, so we need to move on to the very next thing, and in like 5 days after that, we will be moving on to the thing after that, and that is what happens in Magic the Gathering. Everybody, all right. So Roger, Tarkir Dragonstorm, what is it about? What's going on? Give us the 2 minute 2 3 minute story from the beginning to the end.
It's actually such a rich story. I'm gonna try to do it as fast as possible, but know that there is an old timeline, which is the original timeline, a new timeline, which is the timeline that a lot of people know and love, but it turned the three color clans into just two color dragon owned pairs. And then in this new one, we're going back to the old timeline where we have three color pairs, but now that the dragons are gone and there are major players in this story. It's amazing. If y'all go to the Magic kind of like official YouTube, you can hear the new story. It's actually turning out really great. And we're going to answer a lot of things. But just long story short, the original Tarkir, there was they were ruled by clans. Dragons did not rule that plane until Sarkhan goes back in time, saves Ugin. Ugin comes back, and then with Ugin's presence, dragons start becoming stronger over the clans, and then eventually we have these dragons take over the clans, and then they kind of convinced they were bad. These dragons are actually very, very, very evil. But they convinced a lot of their clan members that they weren't, and they were doing the good for them until Narset eventually opens up this like massive portal, brings in more spirit dragons, and then they run out the bad dragons like Jamoka and Silumgar and all these things, right? So now that we're getting back into the three color pair is post the Phyrexian invasion, post all of the dragons, and now we're seeing people re-embrace their old cultures or kind of almost their like religious beliefs kind of thing, where now they're all mending their bonds and trying to be able to work together with both of like with all three of their color pairs. So it's a very beautiful and interesting story, but something is happening currently on the current Tarkir that we can get into, but I'll leave it at that.
Uh, great roundup. Something about dragons, and I hear dragons are coming. So, all
Yes.
right, what was that, Jared?
Oh, nothing. No, I was just laughing.
Dragons. Okay, so let me ask you guys. Like, we just had all of the greatest Magic the Gathering heroes racing Mad Max style, and before that, we had a haunted house where all of our Magic the Gathering heroes were trying to find their way out Scooby Doo style of the haunted house, and before that they were all wearing cowboy hats, and then before that I think they were all trying to solve a murder mystery. So now are we going back to like a real story, magic story? Like no, is this a filler?
This is the argument is that this is the most like substantive, like original format magic story to come out since
Like War of the Spire?
maybe X not War of the Spire. No, I like but March of the Machine and everything was still was like in terms of like
Like
just them
Phyrexia
getting
all will
back
be
to
one.
what. Yeah, like, but I mean, even like, I guess like Ixalan kind of like revisited. Oh, what was the Caverns of Ixalan still? The other ones that you just referred to, a lot of people are calling them like hat wearing sets. I'm gonna wear my detective hat. I'm gonna wear my cowboy hat. I'm gonna wear my '80s ball cap hat for this one, and they just wore their racer hat, right? So, arguably, like especially like Dustmourne, I think the lore that the official lore on a lot of these, even with Ether Drift was pretty good. I actually liked the lore, but they're just leaning so hard into the gimmicky artwork and gimmicky visual world creating. And this one is not like that. This one is really just back to kind of like an OG Magic World. I think at least for a moment. But where are we going to after? We're
We're
going to
going to
Final Fantasy. We're
space.
going to Final. Well, I mean, we're going to Final Fantasy
We're
first. We're
putting
not
on
even going
our
to be talking
space
about Magic.
spacesuits.
But yeah, exactly. So this is probably going to be the only kind of feel like normal Magic, like not hat wearing set
So
coming out this
what do
year,
you
from
guys
what
like?
we know.
Where are you on the the argument, the debate on this? Do you like Tarkir? Do you like what Innistrad, those Magic things, or do you like SpongeBob, Final Fantasy, Avatar? And so there's like the real Magic stuff. There's like the cowboy hats, spacesuits, and detective hats. And then there's Final Fantasy, Universe Beyond stuff. Which ones do you like?
Personally, I like the Magic story, and I think Jared's kind of on board with that because he's read a lot of the original stories back in like the Urza's time to his kid. And if you've been following stories for a long time, then you're actually excited because like this new story arc is very exciting because one, Karn ripped holes through the timeline, right? And then you have Sarkin who went back in time to revive Ugin and created another time paradox. You have all these like omen paths opening, so they've left so many loopholes open that with this new story, I feel like they're trying to close a lot of these like little holes that are missing in the story. As a fan, I think it's awesome because I'm like, okay, cool. So this is what's happening, and this is after, and we're seeing hero arcs become villain arcs. So we saw Jace's villain arc when he used to be a hero, and then he became a villain in Phyrexian Albion. And now we have just a little teaser. If you haven't seen what's happening, there's a possibility that Starking's going to have his evil moment because he was the hero. He was the person that revived Ugin and did so much good stuff. But now there might be a villain arc for him in this new one, but that's yet to see. So I really like it. I do like the Universes Beyond stuff, but really love that they're continuing the story.
Yeah,
Damn, Roger,
agree.
what? Wow,
Totally
look at
agree.
giving us the teasers and everything, giving me chills about the story. You know, I am the last person. Like, I don't care about lore at all. Just give me my Spider-Man, and my Avatar, and give me my Final Fantasy. Take my money. Dragons are whatevs, but that's just me. What do we call those people? Like, what are those like? They're the Spikes and the Timmies and the Johnnies and the blah
That's
blah
more
blah.
about play. That's more about play style.
That's what.
I
What's a
mean,
Timmy?
I get Tim. I get them confused now. Isn't Timmy is the one who cares about big creatures and big plays, right? Roger,
I always
can you
thought Timmy
confirm?
was Timmy the combo player, right? That's normally what they call it.
I think I always thought it was Timmy was the combo player and Johnny was the one who cared about big creatures, but I think it's vice versa.
So
I'll see if I can answer.
who's the one when you when you're on the MTG Arena and you can buy those avatars? I have the guy wearing the dinosaur outfit. What is that one?
That's Timmy. That's why I think I got corrected. I think that's Timmy. I'm gonna look it up really quick. But and then so then there's Spike though. Spike's hyper competitive, only cares about winning. And then the final one that they added was starts with a V. You guys know it? So
V.
it's start and there is they have the avatar for it. She's wearing like a Valkyrie hat.
Yes.
Gold Valkyrie, and it starts with a V. I'll see if I can find it while you guys are talking. But they care about lore almost more than anything else.
Lore.
Flavor and lore.
There it is.
So they want to make a rank 1 exhibition deck in the new EDH rec.
What's the guy Rudy from Alpha Investments? He uses the word Timmy a lot, and it's kind of like synonymous with like someone dumb.
Okay.
Damn, that's harsh.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, okay. So we talked. All right, we talked about. Let's move on to Marrow. Mark Rosewater just gave out his Tarkir Dragonstorm teasers. Bunch of stuff in here. Not gonna go through all of it. But anything that stands out to you guys?
Yes, actually, based on the story, I think there's one that we can almost um, assuredly talk about, and that's Marrow said that there's gonna be two planeswalkers. So throughout the story, Elspeth has been such a powerhouse, and we know she still has her spark. So it'll be cool to see an Elspeth planeswalker.
Based on that
And
art, based on that art that Eugene had up a second ago too.
yeah, and the other one is they left this so open ended at the end of Aether story, right? On the cliffs of Tarkir, the wind whips through the man's hair. The distant howls of hunting dogs meet his ears. A creature is asleep in his arms. He stirs far from peaceful in that slumber. He says something to the woman next to him, and then the man in blue walks ahead. That doesn't say Jace, but what people assume is that the woman standing next to him is Vraska, his love, who doesn't have a spark. Jace has a spark, and the creature in his arms is Lute, and they're on the precipice of Tarkir, right? They're on the cliffs of Tarkir. So either he makes an appearance on Tarkir, and them being there is going to be very important. Maybe with Lute and the Omen Paths, that's how they get to space. I don't know. So it doesn't say that quite in the story, but we can maybe assume since he's the only other person with a spark coming into the story, then maybe we get a Jace Planeswalker. And that's my theory. I don't know if that's true. He might not even make it through the story, so we might have another Planeswalker. But those are the two Planeswalkers I think that Marrow is alluding to.
And then Jace is gonna be on Venus and Mars and go to space in like 5 months. No, less than 5 months.
Yeah, less than 5 months. The cool thing is I think so that's another thing. Like Jace is trying to get back the reins and like pull back into an older timeline. Like Jace wants to go back to before the Phyrexian invasion happened. He kind of wants to get his revenge on certain things and kind of wrap things up his own way, which fits into the whole like manipulating time and all this other stuff. So it would be really interesting to see that arc kind of play out. If he's still villainous, I'm not really sure, but it's gonna be crazy. The story's so cool right now.
All right, we'll check back on this. I don't know if we're checking back on the story or not. Well, Roger, you can. Well, Roger, you're that V person that Jared was talking about.
Vorthos, I believe it's
Vorthos. There we go. There it is. That's Roger right there. Our
while
resident.
we're back on it, while we're back on it, Timmy is the power gamer. That's the dinosaur outfit wearing, and he cares about big plays and big creatures and make one big player happy in the game. Johnny's the combo player, and Spike's the competitive wants to win player.
Got it. All right. Well, our resident Vorthos person, Lorthos here. We'll check back in on the lore with Roger next time on who that mysterious figure is and things like that. Maybe it's Jace. Who are the Planeswalkers? I think the spoilers are coming out next week, or they're coming out soon because the set comes out in like 3 weeks or less. All right. Anything you guys want to talk about? We'll talk about two Planeswalkers. Cycle of Dragonstorm enchantments, really interesting. A new instant and sorcery subtype. So what was that, like instant dragon or something like that? Dragon instant?
Yeah, I mean they already have that. They have Kindred already. So I mean, but that's not new though, because they could do Kindred Dragon sorceries instance. Yeah, I don't know.
People are speculating this dragons get a new typo enchantment based on a popular zombie one that is going to be like Necro Duality, which is like the 4 to cast enchantment. Whenever you cast a zombie, you like make another token copy of that zombie. So it'd probably be something like whenever you cast a dragon, you make another token of that dragon, or it could be the one where it's like all your dragons cost 0 to cast. There's like the zombie version of that.
Gotcha. My only gripe as a player with that one, just that theory, right, is that that's a 4 to cast enchantment that creates more dragon tokens potentially, right, or the zombie tokens originally. But they printed a dragon that's 3 colors. I forget the name. That does exactly that. Whenever you cast a dragon, it makes a copy of the dragon, and so you have a token of it. It's 6 mana, right? That would be huge power creep if they make a 4 mana version of it. So depending on the CMC, maybe that's somewhere where they're going, but I don't think they're gonna print that power. Maybe they will.
The only thing that would maybe even it out is the one you're talking about is I can't remember its name, but the dragon with Ward 2.
Yep.
But that one also lets you make non-legendary tokens of legendary. So maybe the legendary rule will at least apply to that creature.
That's sweet. I like that idea.
but oh gosh, the as for the enchantment, they've already spoiled a card called Baron Step Siege, which is one of the old sieges where you come in and you choose something. Uh, so it's the gold one, and right there you go. So you come in, you choose a clan. So that's probably going to be the cycle of enchantments, where there's one for you get to choose your clan in every dual color.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I initially didn't really like these cards because if it doesn't do anything on the turn, the ETBs these days, the card sucks.
Yeah,
But this one happens at the end step, so
yeah. At
so
least you're gonna have before the end of
yeah,
turn.
you'll
Yeah.
get something off of it and see what. So you can choose either put a +1 on each creature you control. That's very powerful. Or if a creature died, each opponent sacks a creature. That's also pretty good too.
It's a
So
one-time Grave Pact.
the what?
What a once a turn Grave Pact.
Right. Okay. All right. Looks like we're getting Delve. Delve is coming back. So it seems
Oh,
like
that's
there's gonna be a lot of
that's
graveyard
bad.
stuff. Maybe like the Abzan, right?
Yeah, they've got to be careful with Delve. That's a very broken mechanic.
So good. So good.
Whatever creature, if you okay, what we have some creature types, some dogs, elephants,
A
Yeti,
chimera.
snake
What type?
shapeshifter. Is that like changeling? We're gonna get some
Could be.
changelings.
It could be. So not all shapeshifters are changeling. But it could be a snake that clone. A lot of times they're clones, but just they have an initial creature type, and it may be like it'll keep snake and it'll turn into something else too.
Who's the legendary zombie snake warlock?
Maybe shit. There was a Sultai, the old Sultai commander, Sidisi Brood Tyrant, I think was from Khans, uh, and and he's a Naga shaman, and Nagas are now snakes, so they've changed that. And so it could be, I don't know if Sidisi died in the original plot story. So if he died, maybe he was brought back to life, and now he's a zombie snake warlock.
All right,
That'll
well,
be cool.
Tarkir Dragonstorm spoilers will be coming out. We'll see if there's anything good. Seems like there's decent amount of hype now. Before we move on, right? Without getting too political or anything like that, right? The economy is not super great right now. If you've looked at the stock market, it's kind of crashing and people are getting laid off. So, how do you guys think that with everything going on, how's that affecting the sales of Magic? Especially given that there's literally like a set coming out every less than 2 months. And we have Final Fantasy is coming out immediately after Tarkir, and Final Fantasy is like super, super hyped. Like, do you guys think people are saving money, going to skip Tarkir because they're saving up for Final Fantasy? Do you think people are just going to buy everything? Do they have the money for that? Are times down, on the economic side? And then or is Tarkir, because this is like the only real true Magic story this year, will that save this set?
I think that regardless of the economy, just the overload of product. I mean, I can only speak from our friend group that play that, like, I think uh, with Eugene starting his, kind of running his own card business at this point, he's the exception. But the rest of us who are just kind of buying to collect and not necessarily resell things as much, I think, and I've always kind of kept up a little bit. I'm buying less and less. It's just too much product, and I just don't have enough places to put the cards anymore. And I'm somebody who has 28 commander decks, so and I'm finding myself taking a couple of them apart because I don't even have the time or the wherewithal to play all of those. And now with so much product coming out, there's just no reason for me to buy so much of it. Uh, so I need to just be either really, really excited about a certain set and just want to have it, um, or I'm probably just going to buy the couple of cards that I really, really
So are you
want.
really,
And
really excited about this one? Because you're a dragon guy.
yeah, but so with the spoilers so far, I look at what I get excited when I see cards that can slip into decks, uh, or the lore. Like I was like, for example, like a set that I bought a lot of because I really liked the lore was the Brothers War one. That was the last one that I got super hyped about the storyline because it revisited probably my favorite old story. Uh, and I just wanted to have practically every legendary creature, and that just because I thought they were cool. So far, I mean, I like the story that's going on, like I said, but uh, mechanically, this might end up being an interesting draft environment, but for my commander collection, because that's mostly what I play, I don't see that many cards so far that I really put in anywhere. So I'm not that excited at the moment.
Yeah, money wise, I think um, it's gonna be interesting because since Magic put out Arena, right? I'm not really sure where their market capital is, just like players on Arena. It may definitely hit the bottom line on the physical product market, but I'm wondering if they don't put out as many sets, how that's going to affect their digital market. Because when we had that like little layover between the last real set and then Foundations, people were very either bored of the format and kind of it was already figured out, and waiting just even 2 months, it felt like a lifetime for online players. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they're going to find the balance of putting out new product, if they're just really just going to take the hit on the physical side or not, or if this is even going to hurt them. Like maybe putting out products like Final Fantasy are going to be so fruitful that it doesn't really matter to them.
Yeah. So Jared, as someone who just occasionally buys cards, you don't draft typically regularly. What are you saving your money for Final Fantasy? Are you gonna buy Final Fantasy? Are you saving up for it? And is it or Spider Man or whatever other sets coming out this year? And is any of that impacting, whether or not you're gonna buy Tarkir Dragonstorm?
At the moment, if I what's after the space set? Is there one or is that the last set of the
I
year?
think, I think it's I think it's after the space set is Spider Man, and then after
Okay,
Spider Man is Avatar.
oh, okay, Avatar is going to be a full mini set of some or a full
Yeah,
set
it's
of
gonna be
some
a
kind.
full set, just like Final Fantasy,
Oh
and
wow,
just like Spider
wow! Oh,
Man.
I didn't know that. So with the knowledge of everything, I usually buy a bundle, and I'm kind of happy with that. I bought an Ether Drift bundle, um, but I usually just wait to find it at Target, so I can get something close to MSRP. And I usually would end up, yeah, and I didn't think I was gonna end up buying it, but 9 times out of 10, if I'm gonna end up buying something, it's the core storyline stuff. So I will probably end up wanting to buy a bundle of Tarkir. I'll probably want to buy a
Yeah, I was gonna
bundle of
say you
of
have
this.
not ordered from
I
me
know.
a bundle of Tarkir yet. Tim's
I
already ordered one.
I will probably do that given what I ended up doing with Ether Drift because I just kind of wanted to have it. So so that being said, but I don't know. I'm I kind of want to do the same thing for Final Fantasy, but it's kind of just the FOMO train about for Final Fantasy versus Ether Drift and Tarkir, and I'm pretty sure for the space set, I'm just gonna kind of want it just because I like Magic, and I did not get my money's worth on the bundle. I didn't expect to.
You never,
I
you
just
never do.
yeah,
You
and
never do it.
I wanted the dice. I liked the box. I just like having a handful of the cards from the set just because they're cool. Uh, and I always get something in there that I'm a little bit excited to put in. But I mean, even with the ton of the Universes Beyond stuff, when they first started releasing it, I was even incredibly hesitant to put any of it in my commander decks because I just felt like it was like too world breaking in my head. I've since started doing it. I don't put like a ton in, but one of my decks I've run a Doctor Who card and a Warhammer card, and I was really, really resistant to doing it initially. So I think I just kind of got that hang up. I really, really like the Magic world, and I like trying to keep it there. And then a lot of my precons, like I have all the Lord of the Rings precons and all the Fallout precons, and I kind of just keep them in their own world. I might slip a couple of cards in that kind of optimize it for the most part. I have them because I want them to feel like I'm playing a Fallout deck or a Lord of the Rings deck.
I recently made a video talking about bundles and the value of bundles, or in terms of like holding on to them as like an investment. And check it out if you have the time. But basically, Jared, for anyone watching this, Jared basically purchased one bundle of almost every single set for like the last 2 or 3 years. Still has them unopened, right? Still unopened.
Correct. Yeah. So it was from,
but you bought it with the intention to open it.
Yeah, I mean, I bought them for my son, and it's his option if he wants to open them, if he ends up caring.
But are you gonna tell him like, hey, it's gonna be like, hey, I bought these for you. They're like 4 or 5x what I bought them for now. So you can open it, or we could like sell them for like $200, $300, $400, $500 each.
Okay, all right. When you put it that way, I mean, probably just gonna sell them. But either way, he only gets to find out about them after we find out if he likes the game or not. I mean, I'm gonna show it to him either way, but I just want to find out. It's not here's the cards. Let's learn how to play. Let's learn how to play. Hey, you like it? Here's these boxes.
To be fair, they're not, no bundle other than maybe Lord of the Rings is worth over like 150 or so. But yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So Tarkir Dragonstorm, and we were talking about what you're gonna buy. So I think there definitely has been a slowdown in purchasing of cards, but we're still in a TCG bull market. There's just so many products, and it's not just in Magic, right? Like Pokemon's got this year. Pokemon's got some big stuff going on. Like they had the Prismatic Evolution set. They're about to come out with this new set called Journey Together that drops in like 2 weeks or so. People are pretty excited about that. But then the set after Journey Together, I think coming out in May for Pokemon, is the Team Rocket set. And people are going out of their minds for that one. So anyway, and Magic, Mark Rosewater did say, hey, we have less Magic products coming out this year. Because people were like, quote unquote, complaining about that. And and guess what the less Magic products is? No Commander decks for Spider-Man. That's it.
It seems like they should have done Commander decks for Spider-Man.
Oh, don't worry. Commander decks for Spider-Man are coming. I bet. I'm guessing. Speculation, rumor on the street is that they're going to do a Secret Lair Spider-Man Commander deck. Charge, the last Secret Lair Commander deck, which was the 20 ways to win, they charged $150. Spider-Man, they're probably gonna be charging $200 for a Spider-Man Secret Lair Commander deck. Why not make even more money?
Yes. It's interesting because I'm thinking that maybe they're targeting 2 different markets or 2 different audiences, right? So like with the Tarkir set, really that's the singles market. You're looking to vamp up your commander decks. Not going to see a lot of sales there, but they're really banking on these IPs to be their kind of like NFT type market where you're targeting collectors, players that are not people that are not players but still buy a product for the collectability and want one of every one. So like you want one of every Final Fantasy card, right? Or you want one of every Spider-Man card, or when the X-Men came out, you wanted one of all of them. So maybe they're just targeting different people, like, and they're just smart about it and tactical about it. But who knows?
Yeah, and one more interesting thing is that they're putting the 2 kind of Magic in-universe sets between Final Fantasy, right? So they're not doing 2 Universe Beyond, one right after the other, except for Spider-Man and Avatar. But what I predict will happen is they're all going to kind of get sucked into this black hole that is Final Fantasy. Like, I know there are a lot of Magic the Gathering fans, the die-hard, true Magic the Gathering people who've been with the game and the lore and everything for many years, like you guys have, like we have. But there's a lot of new people, and even some of us old timers, like myself, are very excited about this, about the universe beyond and stuff, right? You know, I had an idea that like if you look at the universes beyond things, and even the Secret Lair products where they're bringing in other IPs, they really play to like this nostalgia factor of people who grew up in like the 80s and the 90s. Right? Like SpongeBob is something we kind of grew up with. I don't know if kids are watching SpongeBob now. Transformers. I know there's still new Transformers stuff going on, but they really tapped into that Transformers nostalgia. Lord of the Rings. I mean, we have Spider-Man, that we grew up with Spider-Man also. And now we have Final Fantasy, which I know is still going on, but like the peak of Final Fantasy, the height of Final Fantasy was like, 6, 7, 8 or so, around that time. Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, like in the 90s once again. And if you just look at some of the other Universe Beyond stuff, that's all. Even Avatar, right? Like that was starting when we were younger. I think maybe in the early 2000s. Avatar, something like that. So
that's the market that's going to be engaging with the game and has the money to pay for it.
Yeah, the money, right? So when are they gonna do Pokemon? That's gonna blow up the world when they do a Pokemon collab. It's gonna just the fights at Costco, the fights at Target are gonna go. I think there's gonna be fights for Final Fantasy for this. At least for the collectors. We'll see if the scalpers from Pokemon are gonna come on over to Magic the Gathering. But anyway, so there's gonna be like a black hole. What I think is gonna happen is like these products, Tarkir Dragonstorm, Edge of Eternity, are probably not gonna do that great because of many different reasons. People are gonna be saving up for Final Fantasy or Spider-Man or Avatar or whatever, or they're just like, okay, Tarkir Dragonstorm comes out in like 3 weeks, but then they're gonna release the Final Fantasy spoilers, right? Because that comes out like 8 weeks after that, and we're just gonna move on, and you're gonna be bored. Basically, Magic, you're bored of the set. Everyone's moved on the day the set releases, right? The set's gonna release on like April 11 or whatever. But I mean, we've already had all the spoilers. Pre-release is a week before that, so people have already bought a ton of product by then. All these pre-orders and everything like that. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Given the economic stuff going on in the world, do people have money, and will they spend it on Magic? I think the Hasbro said something like, "Oh, the tariffs don't really affect them that much," so we'll see.
Interesting.
All right, want to move on. One last thing before we end. I know, Jared, if you have to hop off, feel free to go for it. We're going to talk about something really interesting to you, right? We're going to talk about the State of Standard, which is an article. It's an article written by somebody, Brian Hones, at this website, DraftSim, but it talks about Brian Kibler's video where he talks about 2 cards in the standard meta that are kind of taking over everything and making it less fun, less innovative, and it's just too powerful. So the 2 cards are Monstrous Rage and this thing. Monstrous Rage, which is the 1 mana red instant that pumps your creature +2/+0, and then it gives it a roll token or some token, some enchantment.
It's an aura, and it gets +1/+1
+1 and trample for 1.
Yeah.
And also Up the Beanstalk, which is the 2 mana green enchantment that ETBs, you draw a card, and anytime you cast anything that's 5 mana or more, you draw another card. And people are comboing that with the Overlords, because once you do the impending cost, you draw a card. People use it with This Town Ain't Big Enough from OTJ, which bounces, which you can cast for 2 mana, but it's like a 5 mana spell. and lets you draw a card. And then there's the new card from Ada Drift, which is Ride On or Ride's End, which is it's like a 5 mana white removal. But if you target a tapped creature, it's only 2 to cast. So you pay 2 mana, you get to draw a card and exile something. So really powerful card. It makes for really fun. It does make the game really fun, but it's kind of like overtaking the meta. Those 2 decks, which is the Zur Domain Overlords deck, which uses the Beanstalk, and then the just any red aggro deck, which uses Monstrous Rage. What do you guys think? Are they going to get banned? What are the implications if it does get banned?
I mean, all I can say, I do play a little bit of standard. There's like an alchemy standard or something like that on Arena, and Monstrous Rage has already been banned from that. So just given that, and it's easily the best 1 mana like red aggro card and if you're playing, and there's so many versions of aggro. I play a mono like an Izzet aggro deck that uses Drake Catcher. It's not really anything, but that's still the best card I could possibly draw to pair up with my early game. Not to mention all the mice decks that use it, right? And so many, just any deck with red in it that's aggro is better off with that card. And the fact that it gives it that permanent trample is really powerful. Makes it very hard to kind of deal with how aggressive the decks are.
Yeah, personally, I think Kibler's shout out was just a little bit too late because when is rotation?
I don't have the exact date, but it's fall of this year, so it's either gonna come with Edge of Eternity or it's gonna come with Spider-Man.
And this will get kicked out. Would this get kicked out?
I think Spider-Man. Because Edge of Eternity comes out in August, which is still summer.
Yeah, Beanstalk will also be out of the meta because
No. Wilds of Eldraine, which both of these cards are from, is staying. So the sets rotating out is Brothers War, Phyrexia All Will Be One, March of the Machine, and it's one more set. I can't remember.
Let me look it up. I thought
but this is staying.
Wow. You get to play pretty far back now.
Yeah, well, there's so many, like, standard is so long now.
Yeah.
That I think they're gonna have to ban cards.
Yeah, but I mean, I haven't been playing enough standard. I don't know how much standard you guys are really playing, but like when the aggro decks go up against the Zur decks and a lot of the kind of like mid-range or even late game control decks, how powerful are they really? Because I'm doing it all in Arena. I'm not doing any like paper standard, and I'm playing at kind of a low tier a lot of times because I wouldn't have played for a while, and I'll be playing bronze, and I'll be able to win a lot. But every deck I play against is an aggro deck because it's so easy to make them, because it's so many. You don't need barely any wild cards to build those decks. So anybody who's trying to kind of rise their rank up initially, they're all playing the aggro deck.
And are you playing best of one?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm playing best of one too, which is even better. It's even better in that situation, right?
They're gonna play aggro more than best of one.
So I just looked it up. You were right, Eugene. Wilds of Eldraine is here to stay for a while. That's going to be part of new standard plus 3 additional sets, which then actually changes the narrative, because I think we just need to talk about how the cards are egregious. But if they do leave standard, the new standard that we're left with may be even more egregious in the sense of like with of the Beanstalk, you have card advantage, so people aren't playing too much of what is it, Enduring Curiosity, the one that draws you a card for every time you hit somebody. And remember how and do you guys remember how crazy that card was? But if you don't have a way to counteract that sort of card advantage, then you may not be able to compete against this decks. And if you kill these 2 decks, the deck that rises is the bounce deck. What is the Esper bounce?
Yeah, the Esper Pixie or whatever deck.
Yeah, so if you nerf red decks and then you have no, or red green decks too, and you have no way to push through damage, how are the aggro decks gonna fight against these attrition-y based decks that are just gaining value with every spell they get? Because the bounce decks is kind of like you're drawing a card every time you play a spell, but you're picking the best card for the moment, whether it's like they discard something from their hand to get the last thing out of their hand, or sacrificing a creature. It's going to be very interesting to see these new decks kind of rise and what new cards we're going to have to ban. But also, didn't they say they were going to ban less starting soon,
Well,
or did they say
I
that?
mean, have they ever banned any standard cards from standard?
Yeah,
Like
the
recently?
Oko.
Oko was it?
And
What set was that?
was the original Eldraine, was that?
Yeah, that was a long time
Well,
ago.
they did Oko, and they did Omnath, and they did. There was a series of sets for like from like 2021, 2022, where they were banning a lot of standard mistakes. Like, and I mean a lot, meaning like somewhere between 2 and 5 or something like that.
Well, I just hope this Jeskai Oculus. Beanstalk gets banned. Maybe Beanstalk gets banned and Monstrous Rage survives.
Yeah, I mean, with Monstrous Rage, there is a lot of other options. It's just the best one. Um, is it too powerful? I don't know. Then again, if you play a fair amount of removal against a lot of those aggro decks, they have to bank a lot of their power on like single creatures. They kind of died kind of easy to that too.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like even with Aether Drift that came out, like all the tournament standard decks, they're just exactly the same. They might have gotten a little bit different, like they added Ride's End or something, and this one card. Oh, Stock Up, man, Stock Up. What a card. But
That's a good card.
yeah. But it's still all the meta is still exactly the same. So we'll see how it changes with Tarkir Dragonstorm because a 3-color set. It's either going to make some 3-color decks pop up that are good, which I hope there will be a new one. To be fair, the Domain Overlord deck is kind of like a 3-color deck, so maybe that deck will get even stronger. And we'll see what happens after Zur rotates out. Oh yeah, and the other set was Dominaria United. So it's Dominaria United, Wilds of Eldraine, Brothers War, and March of the Machine that's going to rotate out. I think when Spider-Man releases in September. Don't quote me on that. It's also possible it could be when Avatar releases in November. One of those dates. And
I'm out, guys.
Yep. And yeah, so I think that nothing has really changed. So hopefully there'll be a new strong 3-color deck with Tarkir Dragonstorm. Make some of the Tarkir Dragonstorm cards worth something. Otherwise, it's just going to be like Aether Drift, not worth anything. Price of Aether Drift cards are crashing really hard.
Yeah, I wonder, like, so if there are bannings, right, and we have these new tier decks moving up, will then we see the rise of some of these other cards that we're not seeing play right now? So yeah, maybe it shifts the market, but I'm not really sure. Also, I'm not sure how going into a Universes Beyond set that's now standard legal gonna affect standard, So like we have Final Fantasy gonna be standard legal. Will that be enough to make just kind of shame Beanstalk? Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. All right, well, that's it. That's it for today. We'll be back next time. Thanks for watching. I doubt anybody has made it this far except shout out to Max and Tim who always do. And see you guys later.
Peace.